editorial writing in medical sciences. Okay. So what will be the learning objectives? We will define the editorial article. We will understand how to search the high impact editorial topics, and how to conduct the literature searches for the topic, because these topics you won't find in the publication. So how to search on these topics. Then structuring the manuscript, selecting the appropriate journal, that is very, very important, and navigating the submission process. And in meanwhile, this time I will also teach you how to submit, how to add up the cover letter and everything. So what is an editorial? So it's the opinion article, okay, that shows that what are the developments, what are the innovations, and what are the new policies. Okay, so we interpret the emerging evidence. Then we also talk about the clinical significance and how it will help in the treatment process. And that's why it helps in the future research. Now, you can see here, there are 4 types of letters, like research papers. Like first is editorial, then it is review article, commentary, and the letter to the editor. Now, if we see which one is the most opinion-based content, then it is editorial and commentary. What is the difference between editorial and commentary? Commentary is about if there is a submission and the publication of a paper in the journal. You read that paper and then you felt that, okay, there are some of the points that I can talk about. If there is something about, for example, cardiomyopathy drug, and you felt that, okay, this is something important, and that you write. Okay. But commentary, the problem is that it discusses very specific issues, articles, and things, but you cannot add up much significant in your resume. So that's why we go with the editorial, review article, systematic reviews, case reports, because that they are more evidence based, then they are more valuable on your resume, and they are also the perspective is more important, because then you have a lot of things to discuss in your interviews and in your exam prep also. So that is more important. So evidence-based summary, as I said, so editorial has moderate, review article has extensive, and letter to the editor is limited. Now, what is the difference between editorial and letter to the editor? Letter to the editor is a small work, okay? So the typical word count, you can see it's different. Now, the perspective that you write, since the word limit is less, you will have less space to write about that topic. So you just write the basics and you just finish it. But editorial is like more like a review article only, but the shorter review article. Okay. So there we discuss about, in the letter to editor, we discuss about just a brief observation. But in editorial, we talk about the advancement, then what are the implications on it, and the expert insight. So that's why we go with the editorial. Now, how to finalize that which editorial topic is going to be strong? So these are the factors that you can consider. Firstly, as I told, timely editorial topic. The new advancement comes, you just write it down. Okay. The novelty also goes with that, because if there is publication happened, then your paper goes down in the competition, right? Then clinical relevance. Now, this topic that we are discussing, it has impact on the 6 type of cancer. So clinical relevance is there, evidence supported, and future oriented. So this is the way we decide which topic is good and which topic is not good. Okay. Now, how to find the editorial ideas, like from where I will get the topics, right? And there comes the major conferences, like the paper that I'm talking about has been shown up in ASCO. Similarly, clinical trials. Then you can also go to the FDA news, FDA approvals that shows up that, okay, this is a new drug, and updated guidelines. So these are the major sources from where you can get the editorial ideas. Okay. Now, students ask me that how you get the topic as soon as it's published or something like that. The major thing is that you can do is you can subscribe to the news channels, especially the scientific news channels, like Nature has their own, and then US based medical channels. So you will get updates from there. Additionally, the PubMed has this option. You can just subscribe that, and whatever news related to your interest specialities, it provides you that information. So subscription of such um, news channels, then conferences also. And additionally, the journals, you can do that, okay? The free journals. Not all journals have the free subscriptions. Now, topic selection. There are, if you will, for now, these days, we all are using ChatGPT. So they can provide you 100 of ideas. But how to decide that, okay, this is the topic that I should go with? So as I told you, the topic should be relevant, new, novel, then it should not have been published. So you can, from the 100 ideas, you can search 20 relevant topics of your interest. Then you have to search about the 10 novel topics. From those topics, you will start searching about that topic, and you will see some of them are already published, so that are already out. Then feasibility, you will also check that if these topics are feasible or not. And then from there, you get one or two ideas and you can work on that. So this is how you select the topic. Now, as I asked, how to check for the novelty? As I said, is it recent, clinically important, controversial, if it is or if it is not? That is also one of the thing. For example, if there is Ebola virus infection that is leading, then what are the points that can go with that? Then the tourism effect and all those points. So that can also be the controversial matter to be discussed. Evidence available or not, or again, important point, over published. If you are interested in a topic which is already published, okay, then you should remove that topic. You should search more about the new advancements, okay? Now, literature search strategy, as I told, the databases that I use and most of the people use: PubMed, Embase, Scopus, and Google Scholar. So they contain the high quality evidence, and you can get all the information from there. So whenever I decide a topic, I start searching it on all these four databases, because sometimes some of the journals are not in the PubMed, but they are majorly in Embase and Scopus. And Embase and Scopus has a lot of data. So from there, I can search that if this paper is published or not in any of the journal. So this way, I finalize that, okay, this is the topic I can go with. Okay. What if it's already published in Embase and Scopus and not published in PubMed? Then also there are less chances that your paper will be published in PubMed, because it's already published somewhere. So you have to be very, very conscious that, okay, in whichever database, if it is published, the chances of your paper publication is reduced. Okay. Now, reference management tool. When you work in the team, okay, so I always ask everyone to go with the notebook LM, because, for example, one of the student, they searched about that topic and they found 3 references. Okay, and now they're studying about those 3 references for their part, whatever they have decided to write in the manuscript. Now, another student also searched and got 2 of the references that are same, because when you're uh, searching for the topic which is novel, you will always have less of the references. Now, to avoid the copy of those references, what we will do, we will submit it in the team, and we will work with the notebook LM, or we all can also work on Mendeley, because it's very easy to collaborate there. You can see all the papers that are being read in the team, and then you can finalize the sections you want to write, and accordingly you can use that reference. Okay, so there are 2 reference management tools that I would suggest: Mendeley and Notebook LM. The benefit of Notebook LM is that it provides you the AI based summaries. For example, there is one paper, you cannot read the whole paper, and there are so many papers sometimes that we don't have that much of time to read. So what Notebook LM does, it provides you AI based summaries. You read that, you decide that, okay, this paper is good for my paper or not, and accordingly you can ask questions there. For example, I read one paper on cardiomyopathy, and I felt that I'm not sure if I should take this study or not. Then I will ask that, okay, tell me the results. Is it conclusive or not? And if the trial has been taken for over 10 people, or 10 to 20 people or not, or something like that, whatever questions I want, I can ask, and it, according to the paper, it will answer. So I will have the whole paper summary and everything, whatever queries I have, in just 5 minutes. So I save a lot of time with Notebook LM. Okay. Now, this is the way we decide the editorial narrative. Now, when you get your papers, you took the references. Now, how to decide that what you have to read and why you have to read? The first thing, problem. So we know the cancer is already on the rise. Now, what is the current limitation? Side effects of the drug, maybe no, not proper penetration of the drug, or over penetration of the drug, whatever the problems are. So we would read about the current limitation. Then the recent advancement. What are the properties of that drug? Okay. Now, what will be the clinical impact? And along with that, if there is something about the side effects that that drug is going to cause, or is it going to address the problem that was happening with the previous drug? Okay. So all those things, clinical impact, and then the future directions. So this is how, whenever you have a paper or a topic, you have to think like this. Okay. Now, structure of an editorial, how we are going to work. Now the title is okay. Then introduction. So what we write in the introduction, we write about the cancer, whatever problem it has. Okay. The rise, the prevalence, and then what are the current treatment options, whatever current treatment options are. Then what is the problem? Why we are writing on this? That's the thing. The current evidence, it adds up all the information there. Then you will add up the next paragraph. What is the new drug that we are going to work on? Critical analysis about that drug. Okay, there you can add up the mode of action, then what are the uh, side effects, what are the targets, and all those points. Then what could be the future direction? This is something that you, once you read through Notebook LM, then you can write it on your own, that the future direction we write it on ourselves. Okay, and then the conclusion. So this will be the structure of the editorial. I will provide you the paper flow also. As I told, writing the introduction. So introduction section includes clinical problem, current challenge, and recent advancement. You have to capture the attention within the 200 words. It's a very general question I ask everyone. Why should I read your paper? So when you are writing, you should always think, why should you read your own paper? Okay. So once you know that, okay, this is interesting, this is how, if I will write, people will have this point that, okay, I should read. So the first thing that goes, the problem that, okay, cancer is rising. Why, how, prevalence. When you write the data there, everyone is like, okay, out of every fourth or fifth person can have the risk of cancer. Okay, I can be the one. Now I will read the whole paper. So you have to play with the psychology, and the psychology goes with the data. Okay. So introduction part has the most grip point where you can decide that if the reader is going to read a paper or not. Okay. Now, presenting the current evidence, the major trials, the key outcomes, mechanisms, and comparative advantages. Now, with this part, you will use all this 4 sections in the Notebook LM AI, and you will get all the information about that drug, about that paper. So from there, you have your own notes ready. You can prepare your notes, and that will help you in writing the section. Okay. Again, I have saved my time with the Notebook LM. Okay. The critical analysis: strength, limitations, safety concerns, barriers, and the cost. Again, you can use the same thing in the Notebook LM, and you will get all the information from there. Okay, so you can add up 4 to 5 papers if there are, whatever paper number you have for any of your topic, and then you can put up all your questions there, and you will get all the answers. So I can read 4 to 5 papers and with all my questions, genuine questions, and I will get all the information. So in 5 minutes, I can conclude 3 to 5 papers, right? Now, future directions. As I told, ongoing trials, the combination studies, or some maybe some adjunct therapies that can be used. Personalized medicine, we are very much focused on personalized medications, and the regulatory challenges. Ethics, that is also one of the point, very, very important point whenever new clinical trial happens. So we have to think all those 4 points in the future directions. And these comes when you read all the papers, you conclude all the things, and then you decide, okay, what are the regulatory challenges that can happen? So that way you decide and you write the future directions, okay? Now comes this Pearl framework. So this is very useful when you write the future direction and the conclusion, okay? The problem, evidence, analysis, recommendation, and how you look forward, okay? So this Pearl framework can be used when you are writing down your section, okay? Your manuscript should show this framework, and when the reader is reading, for example, if I am reading any paper, I would see that if there is evidence in the paper or not, or what are the recommendations from the paper, and is it giving me a hope to work on the paper or not. Then only I will decide that, okay, this is a good topic or this is a good paper, I should select for my references, right? So you should also use this Pearl framework. Now, the common mistakes that we do. Sometimes we take a broader topic, okay? Then you won't be able to conclude everything in the word space. So you should always be very specific for the topic you decide whenever you're writing any of the research paper. Doesn't matter, it is editorial, systematic review, or review paper, whatever paper you are writing. You should not go with the broader topic. You should be very focused on the problem and the solution, okay? The weak literature search, that is one of the issue, and this could be a mistake also, and this could be um, limitation also, because if there is a new paper, you won't get much of the data, right? You won't get much of the references. So what you do, you take a paper, okay, whatever, if it is published, you take a paper, then you read those that paper, and then you go to the references. You see what references have been used for that paper. That is called snowballing. With the help of the snowballing, you can find few of the other papers about the same drug. Maybe not what is related directly to your topic, but at least about that drug, okay, or about the disease or something like that. So you can enhance your literature search through snowballing, okay? Excessive summarization. You should be very limited to your words. You should be very concise, but it should be very focused statement, okay? So always use this principle. You should not exceed more than 25 words in one statement. If you keep it under 25 words, you will write a very focused statement, okay? So please keep this in mind. You have to be precise and concise, okay? Lack of analysis. As I said, future directions is one of the thing where reader decides that if your paper is going to be in his references or not, okay? And the poor conclusion. So these are the major problems, and we are not going to make these mistakes, okay? Now, as I asked, the journal search tools, that is also very important. So if I'm writing anything about oncology, I have to search about oncology journals. I cannot go with the surgery journals. I cannot go with the cardio journal. I have to go with the oncology journal. So majorly, I search, my part goes with the Elsevier journal finder and Wiley journal finder. Why? Because it's important that any journal, it should be with the good indexing and abstracting. Another thing is that if I can afford the APC or not. So these many of the PubMed and Scopus journals are very expensive. So how I can afford that? Many have, especially the Village Journal, they have Research Gate Association, and they provide you the waivers. So as a student, I will go with the wavered journals, okay, and related to my topic. So these are the major journal search tools you can use whenever you are ready for the submission. Now, as I told you, evaluating a journal. So indexing. Now it's important that if they are accepting the editorials or not. Some of the journals don't accept, or some of them, they only accept the invited editorial. So that is also important. The relevant scope, you cannot submit a paper in surgery or something, right? So that is important. Reasonable timeline. Yes, many of the PubMed index journals, what they do, they take a lot of time because they are very competitive, and they take around over 6 months, 7 months for the publication. And in that period, your editorial will already be published in some of the paper, some of the journal by another person, because that topic is competitive and someone is already working on it. So it's better to check the reasonable timeline also. So um, it's very important point. And the transparent fee, as I told, the waiver system, and if they are providing some discounts and all those points. So these are important to evaluate a journal. Now preparing for submission. So when you are submitting a paper, there are few things they ask. Manuscript is one thing, cover letter. So cover letter is something where you write it to the editor that, okay, this is my topic, this is the significance of my topic, and I believe that this journal is best suited for it, and I hope my paper will contribute to the journal. This is the mail that we write, and this like a mail, like a letter we write. So that is important. So 3 points. Firstly, what is my topic, what is the significance of the topic, and how it is contributing to the journal. 3 points, you write it in that cover letter. Conflict declaration, there is sometimes they provide a form, sometimes it's like in the acknowledgement document itself, so you have to mark that. And the author contributions, that is very important, because it has ICGME guidelines. So accordingly, author contribution will be there, that what part you have written, how much you were interested, how much you led the team, and all those things. Accordingly, we decide, and the author contribution is given. As I told, significance of topic, journal relevance, and yes, corresponding author details. Whosoever is submitting the paper, that detail will go. Okay. Publication timeline. So here, as I told, editorial is very competitive, and we have to write it on the fast process. So topic, 1 to 2 days, that is already been decided. So then search. Normally it takes 2 to 3 days, but as I told, Notebook LM is going to save a lot of your time. So, and this is a new topic, so you will always get very few papers. So 1 day is more than enough for searching and using Notebook LM to conclude all your work and your notes. Writing 3 days, it's okay, because first time when you are writing something, it takes a lot of time and to think, and then reviewing a review. Now, when it comes to review, I would really request everyone to not use Chat GPT for your writing, because all the journals are very strict to the AI detections, and it will reduce the quality of your paper. Additionally, more rejections, and this will take more time. So please don't use Chat GPT. You can take an example from the Chat GPT, but write it in your own words. Okay. Then we finalize, we review, we decide that, okay, this is the whole manuscript, what tables needed, what diagrams needed, whatever things are needed, we finalize that, and then we go with the submission. Okay. After submission, it might take, depends on the journal. Sometimes they give reply in 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, but we will choose that journal only which will give the reply at least in a month. Okay, not more than that. So this will be the final submission checklist, journal format. So maybe some editorials have different, the journals provide you the space, a word space, that this is the word space they can provide. This is the figure space, then this is the table space. Mostly editorials cannot go over 2 figures, and the References would also be under 5 to 10. So like that. So similarity check, that is very important. You should check that in the previous 2 to 3 months that topic is not there in that journal at least. Author approval and the cover letter. Okay. So these are the main points. Topic selection in any research, it determines the success. And that's the reason that our 95% of our abstracts have been selected in whichever conference we have submitted. Topic is the main thing. So you should always go with the recent clinical trials. Analysis, you have to be you have to think like a researcher. You have to think like, okay, if you are giving this drug to your patient, is it helping the patient or not? If there is some side effects, what it could be, and how to manage that. So in that way, as a clinician and as a researcher, when you think and write, that makes your paper more readable. Okay. Evidence. So for the evidence, as I said, if you are telling cancer is on rise, okay, but where is the data? Where is the prevalence? How I can show up that yes, cancer is on rise? Evidence. Okay. Journal fit, that which journal you have to opt for your manuscript. And consistency, because if we are deciding the 5 days, then we have to finish it in the 5 days. Otherwise, you are in the back number in your competition. Okay. Especially in editorials. And that's it. Thank you. And now I would love to have your questions.